So now here's our Brain Pop clip on conducting an interview. Listen carefully and see if you hear some of the same interview tips and interview etiquette that we read about in our EPIC book.
Well, if it isn't Cub reporter Moby Olson, what can I do for you, friend? You want to know how I get all these swell interviews with famous robots? Well, pull up a chair and I'll show you the ropes. First of all, interviews are a type of research, like reading an article or a book. The difference is, you do this kind of research by talking with someone. Since you're getting information straight from another person, interviews are primary sources. And they're original. Instead of using the same references as everyone else, you'll be making your own. Heck, down the line, someone even might use your interview in their research. Whether you're writing an essay for class or a front-page scoop for the Daily Robot, the interview process is the same. First, you have to get your subject to agree to the interview. Whether you contact them by phone, email, or in person, be professional. Introduce yourself and explain why you want the interview and how it will be used. Once they've agreed to talk, you have to do a little background work. Learn as much as you can about your source. Take my interview with little Jimmy. First, I dug into his background online. Then I read his biography and a couple of magazine articles about him. Pretty soon, I had a much better sense of who he was. You got it, Jack. It helped me brainstorm some questions. Here, take a look at my notebook. I had to ask interesting questions too, things that people care about, not just details about their favorite TV shows, you know? And those first two questions were rookie mistakes. Don't ask questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Start your questions with words like how, what, or why. They'll prompt your source to give more detailed answers. You bet. I got a recording app, plus a pen and paper for taking notes. And I called little Jimmy to set up a time when he wasn't too busy. We also agreed on a good spot for the interview. You want a place that's quiet and where the subject feels comfortable. That way, he's more likely to be honest and open up. That's right, timeliness is key in this business, so I made sure to show up 5 minutes early. I asked if it was okay to record our conversation. I wasn't just being polite. You can't record someone without their say-so. And I took notes the old-fashioned way, just in case something went wrong. Needless to say, I was courteous and friendly. I thanked little Jimmy for agreeing to see me and complimented his lovely art collection. Asking Jimmy about his hobby was a great way to break the ice and get him relaxed and talking. You want an interview to be more like a conversation than a list of questions. Yep, some of those questions are going to be about sensitive topics, and you don't want to sound nosy or rude. That's why I always try to establish a friendly rapport or connection with my subject. I made eye contact and asked my questions clearly. I made sure not to be nervous, confrontational, or robotic, though my source was a robot. Even when I pressed Jimmy for details about his failed Senate run, our interview felt like a friendly chat. And sometimes one of his answers inspired me to ask a question I hadn't thought of before. So I didn't get hung up on my precious list. I thought on my feet, and I was ready to adjust my questions on the fly. And here's a tip to remember. Keep your ears open. If I'd zoned out for even a few seconds, I might have missed the chance to ask Jimmy about something important, like his limited edition sneaker collection. Yep, after getting the scoop, I knew I had a dynamite story. I thanked little Jimmy for his time and asked if I could contact him again with follow-up questions. Standard interview protocol. Finally, I sent him a thank you card afterward. So that's the straight dope on how I conduct my interviews. You ready to conduct your own? All right then, get out there and do it. Raspberries.
So I hope this clip helped you to identify some of the same characteristics that we read about in our EPIC story. Now we're going to just wrap up for today. This week, what we want you to focus on is planning for your interview. We do not want you to conduct the interview yet. You'll do that the next week. But this week, just focus on planning your interview. So what I did to help me was I did a graphic organizer where I wrote the name of my interviewee in the circle. And then from that, I came up with things that I know about my interviewee. So I know what her career is, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know why she chose that career. I also don't know about her education. I know where she went, but I don't know why she went there. So maybe that's another topic that I want to research and find out more about. Same for my grandmother. I know her career. I know that my grandmother moved a lot because she was married, of course, to my grandfather who was in the Navy, so they had to move. So I don't know all of the places my grandmother lived, don't know which was her favorite, which was her least favorite. So that might be another topic that I want to investigate further. So after I've chosen who I want to actually interview, then I'm going to conduct my research and find out more about that specific topic before I start to brainstorm my list of questions. What you're going to upload onto Seesaw is your list of questions. We're asking that you come up with 10 questions that you could ask to your interviewee. Once you upload those 10 questions, your teacher will give you feedback. Remember, we're looking for open-ended questions, questions that will encourage your interviewee to do most of the talking, and they will share experiences and facts with you. I hope you have fun brainstorming and planning out your interview, and I look forward to seeing the types of questions that you upload.